Your desk was situated right inside his massive office, near the bookshelf. He didn't like his employees loitering around, so he had a brilliant idea: make your desk his personal property. You like to call it a work cage. It was a Monday, which was enough reason to be miserable. Jungkook was sitting at his desk across the room, looking like he walked out of a CEO magazine shoot, crisp black suit, hair combed back, no nonsense face, zero emotion except for when his coffee was slightly too cold. You peeked at him from your screen, typing the same sentence 5 times because your brain was screaming one thing: I need to leave early. The blind date your best friend set up was today, and she swore this guy was different. He's not creepy, he reads books, she promised, not convincing enough. But it was either go or risk another night of ramen and reruns of your favorite drama, while your mom texted you links to marriage astrology websites. You kept glancing up at your boss. He was typing like the keyboard insulted his ancestors. How do I even ask him? He barely lets me breathe near the air conditioning remote. You cleared your throat but got no reaction. You coughed slightly louder. Still nothing. You tried a polite way to ask, Sir? If it's about the marketing proposal, leave it on the desk, he said, eyes still glued to the screen. You shuffled awkwardly. It's not about that. Actually, I wanted to ask if I could leave early today. Just by an hour or two, max. Maybe 2.5 if traffic is horrible and there's a herd of goats crossing the road. He looked up slowly, expression unreadable. The world froze. Even the AC seemed to hush in anticipation. Why? Your brain screamed, be dramatic. My grandmother is in the hospital, you said, layering sorrow into your tone like a drama queen. He raised an eyebrow, dangerous because that's where you get scared of him. So you kept going. She's not doing well, sir. She has been calling out my name in her sleep. The nurse says she even tried to hug the ivy pole thinking it was me. It's really hard to talk about. Jungkook blinked slowly. You couldn't tell if he was buying it or calculating how many brain cells you had. Then he said, almost too casual, but didn't you tell me a week ago that your grandmother was on a trip to Hawaii? Your soul nearly left your body. Consequences of sharing your personal matter to your boss. You blinked once, twice. Yeah, she went. Absolutely. Island breeze, flower necklaces, shaved eyes. There was silence. Jungkook was looking at you like he knew you were making this up. You gulped. But then she got really sick after coming back. Old flesh, flashback. No, wait. Flash flu. Yeah, one of those airport jumps. Very aggressive virus stain. You placed a hand over your heart. Sir, please, I really want to see her. She might try to hug the X-ray machine next. More silence. He finally leaned back and said, Fine, go, before this becomes a medical documentary. You gasped. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I'll bring back your favorite coffee tomorrow, or a snack, or a stress ball shaped like my face so you can squeeze it whenever I annoy you. He gave you a look, you cleared your throat and saluted. Right, leaving now. You turned to rush out, practically tripping over your own dignity. Once safely outside, you released the breath you had been holding and whispered to yourself. Okay, solid lie, high drama, Oscar worthy, I should win an award. Your phone buzzed. Bestie, don't forget 7 pm, table for 2, no talking about spreadsheets or your boss's jawline. You scowled at the screen. I wasn't going to. Okay, fine. Maybe once. He better be hot as hell. Let's see. Jungkook watched the door close behind you, one eyebrow still faintly raised. Ivy pole? Really? He knew something was off. You were up to something else. He shook his head, mumbling. She should write novels instead of reports. Just then his phone buzzed on the desk. Incoming call Omma, aka Shiv, who must be obeyed. He groaned and picked it up. Omma, he said flatly. Jungkook, my baby, are you still in the office? I'm literally running a company, Omma. What do you think? So you're not getting ready? For she gasped like he had insulted kimchi itself. Your blind date tonight with Mrs. Kang's niece reminded you last week? He rubbed his forehead. Oma, I told you I'm not interested in this matchmaking nonsense. Nonsense? Jungkook, you are 29. Do you want to get married at your retirement party? Do you want me to tell your appa that in future we're going to have grand dogs instead of grandchildren because our son refused to marry and dedicated his life to work? He stared at the ceiling like it held the answers to escape this conversation. Oma, she's very sweet, very polite. She works in a very well known company. She's a secretary. You like workaholic girls, right? That made Jungkook pause. Secretary? Yes, very sharp, always working. Not like those girls glued to Instagram reels and nail extensions. This one sounds like she would file your taxes before dessert. Jungkook's eyes narrowed slightly, a tickle of suspicion scratched at the back of his head. Secretary, works in a big company, polite, slightly dramatic. No, can't be. That would be ridiculous. He leaned forward suddenly, way too focused for a man pretending not to care. What company did you say she works at? I didn't. It's a surprise. You'll see tonight. Don't be late. Oma, wait. Wear something nice. Not one of your black suits. You look like you are attending a funeral. Oh, and smile. That thing where your lips move? Practice it. The call ended. Jungkook stared at the phone again, this time like it had committed betrayal. He turned his gaze slowly to your empty desk. Couldn't be, right? He remembered your hospital visit and ivy pole hugging grandma. Now his lips twitched, equal parts suspicion and reluctant amusement. No way she's that dramatic and going on a blind date on the same night. But his hand was already reaching for his car keys. The restaurant was way too fancy, crystal chandeliers, waiters with white gloves, water that cost more than your electricity bill. You sat nervously at the corner table, dressed a little nicer than usual, a soft maroon dress, subtle makeup, and hair that had miraculously cooperated. You even wore perfume, real perfume, not the body spray you usually drowned yourself in after lunch. Your bestie's voice echoed in your mind. You have had disasters before. Just give this one a chance. He reads books. Wine, books. You sighed. It couldn't be worse than that one guy who asked if your job involved breathing near the CEO and that then ghosted you. You adjusted your posture, took a sip of sparkling water, and tried not to look at your phone every 2 seconds. That's when you saw him. Your eyes widened, your soul left your body. John Jungkook walking into the restaurant. Holy krill! Still in his work suit, looking very much not like someone's blind date, looking very much like your boss, your grumpy, dangerously observant, suspicious boss. You panicked, dove for the menu, held it up like it could protect your identity. Why is he here? Is he following me? Did he track my lie? Does he know the ivy pool was fake? Am I getting fired with foie gras on the table? You tried to subtly tilt the menu and peek. He was talking to a manager now. You slouched lower in your seat. If he sees me, I'm done. My bank account is done. My rent is done. I'll have to become one of those people who live streams themselves, peeling boiled eggs for money. The waiter came by with a polite smile. Would you like to order now, miss? You whispered. Not unless you can bring me a disguise and a fake name. The waiter gave you a confused look like you were some crazy woman. Are you okay, ma'am? Your eyes and attention both were on Jungkook. You looked at the waiter. I'm not. Can you please leave and pretend like this table is empty? The waiter was still confused. You turn your face towards Jungkook only to find him gone. Your breath hitched. Oh my god. Did he evaporate? Did he leave? Are you talking about me, Miss Kang? Your heart dropped and you froze at his voice coming from the back. He signed the waiter and he left bowing. Why are you hiding under the table, Miss Kang? Ah, are you here for celebration? Is your grandmother fine? You blinked and slowly turned toward him, nervous laughter escaping your lips. Ah, Mr. John, what a bizarre coincidence. You're here too. He tilted his head, arms crossed, one brow raised in pure boss mode. In the same restaurant, at the same time, where you claimed your very ill grandmother was needing you. You pointed at the ceiling. A hospital branch restaurant? It's a very experimental recovery method. Doctors say a good truffle risotto lifts the soul. Then why are you hiding under the table, Miss Kang? Hugh grinned awkwardly, still crouched like a feral raccoon caught stealing breadsticks. Yes, a celebration. She's miraculously recovered, truly. The power of love and lentil soup? He tilted his head. Lentil soup brought her back from her. What was it? Ivy pole hugging state? You winced. She's a fighter. He crouched slightly, getting closer. And now you are under a restaurant table like a criminal hiding from the cops. Tell me, Miss Kang, are you moonlighting as a spy? Or just really committed to peekaboo? You stood up abruptly, bumping your head under the table. Oh, no, I just dropped my fork. You held up a spoon, he raised an eyebrow. That's a spoon. You exhaled, giving in. Okay, look, I didn't exactly lie. My grandma does exist. She's just perfectly fine, probably watching K dramas right now and yelling at the second lead to stop being dumb. He leaned on the table, towering slightly, and the ivy pole hugging story was inspired by a movie, Pole of Love. Haven't seen it? It's beautiful, lots of emotion and ivies. He narrowed his eyes, but a smile tugged at the corner of his lips. So let me get this straight. You lied to me to leave early, to come to a date. Blind date? You sighed. Yes, I've had really bad luck with dates, sir. One guy left because I ordered garlic bread. Another asked me to split the bill on water. I just wanted a chance at one normal, semi functional dinner. He stepped back slightly and gestured to the chair across from you. Well, congratulations, you have officially arrived at semi functional. Mind if I sit? You panicked as the realization hit you. Wait, are you the. Oh no! Oh no, no, no. He smirked as he sat down casually like this was his office. Blind date? John Jungkook, CEO, your boss, likes his coffee deadly strong. Turns out I'm your worst nightmare. You nearly shriveled into a napkin. You can't be him. No way. My best friend said the guy reads books. I do. Contracts, memos, reports, occasionally cereal boxes. You glared. This is so embarrassing. Should I just disappear? Pull a Cinderella but less glass slipper and more crawling out the window? He chuckled, an actual laugh. You almost dropped your fork. Sorry, spoon. Relax, Miss Kang. I'm not going to fire you for being a little creatively dramatic. Creatively dramatic? Sir, I fake cried in your office and hugged an ivy pole, apparently. You buried your face in your hands. He waved the waiter over coolly. We'll take two set menus. Oh, and cancel the imaginary grandma's portion. You groaned. Please let me pay. I deserve to suffer. No need. I'm enjoying this. It's not every day my secretary lies to me, hides under a table, and ends up being my blind date. He leaned forward slightly, eyes twinkling. Besides, I'm curious now. What does someone like you actually talk about on a date when you are not panicking or inventing elderly medical drama? You blinked. I mean, mostly food, astrology, and my dream of one day owning a corgi named Bean. He nodded, dead serious, solid topics. Bean, the corgi, approved. You stared. You're not leaving? I was going to, but now I'm kind of entertained, and your face when I said Miss Kang was worth the trip. You narrowed your eyes, lips twitching. So you came to these blind dates secretly, huh? Is this like a hobby? A weird side quest? He picked up his glass of water, casually sipping like you hadn't just accused him of being a serial dater. It's not a thing. You leaned forward, teasing. How did I never find out? Do you do this often? Fake late night meetings and slip out in disguise? His ears turned slightly red. Victory. I don't. My mom forced me this time. You gasped dramatically. Ah, the ultimate villain origin. John Mama. Oh, I remember her questioning me to schedule a meeting, but it should be a date instead. He rolled his eyes, but the corner of his mouth quirked upward. She told me the girl works in a big company, is a bit dramatic, and a secretary. You froze mid chew. She what? He chuckled, and then my brain very hesitantly whispered, check once, just in case. So you thought your mom might have set you up with me and still came here? He leaned forward now, tone smug. I like to live dangerously. You groaned. God, if I knew the blind date was with you, I would have worn a name tag that said run. He rested his cheek on his palm, watching you with that insufferably amused look. You look nice tonight. Not very run vibes. Your cheeks heat up, a compliment on your looks from John Jungkook. It was more than any award. You blushed hard. I was tricked into this outfit. I like it. That made your stomach flip so hard it almost filed a lawsuit. You cleared your throat and grabbed the menu like it owned you money. We should order before I forget how to speak entirely. Too late. You started the evening under a table, he said teasingly. You gave him a pointed glare. I was hiding, there's a difference. The food eventually arrived, and to your surprise, the conversation flowed easily. He told you about the time he accidentally CC'd the entire finance department, a selfie meant for his dog groomer. You nearly choked on your risotto. Then you told him about the time you walked into a meeting holding a slice of cake and told the board this could have been an email. He laughed until he had to wipe his eyes. You are weird. I contain multitudes. Chaos is one of them. You both leaned back, full and oddly comfortable. The restaurant was clearing out. The mood was warm and quiet. He looked at you then, really looked, and you noticed for the first time how soft his gaze could be when he wasn't buried in deadlines. You surprised me tonight. His tone was sincere. Because I lied about a hospitalized grandmother? No, because I never thought someone who drives me absolutely insane at work could make me want to sit in a restaurant for hours and not check my watch. You blinked. That was unexpectedly sweet, and I never thought my cold, scary boss had actual charm or dimples. He laughed, rubbing the back of his neck. So, what happens now? You shrugged lightly. Depends. Are you going to make me fill out an HR form for this date? He smiled. Only if you plan to make a habit of it. You grinned, your hand brushing his accidentally as you reached for the check. Neither of you pulled away. Well, if you are paying, maybe I'll let you walk me home. Only if you promise not to fake another grandparent injury for our second date. Your heart skipped a beat at the mention of second date. Your eyes flicked up to meet his, unsure and hopeful. Are we having one? He paused for just a second, long enough for you to hold your breath. A small smile spread on his face. Well, unless you plan to ghost me, Miss Kang. You gave a little laugh, looking down at your interlaced fingers resting on the table. I guess I could pencil you in if your assistant is fine. She's quite busy pretending her relatives are hospitalized. You looked up at him and smiled, the kind that starts in your chest and works its way to your eyes. She has her reasons. He stood gently pulling your chair out for you. His hand stayed at the small of your back as you exited the restaurant, soft, protective, and warm. Outside, the evening air was cool, not cold, just enough to make you wish the walk was a little longer. You walked side by side, no rush, no awkwardness. At the crosswalk, he stopped. You really surprised me today. You tilted your head in a good way. He turned toward you fully, searching your face. In a way that made me think I don't hate the idea of blind dates anymore. You smiled, cheeks warming. You mean you don't hate me anymore? He stepped a little closer. I never hated you. You blinked, his eyes were darker under the street lights, softer, honest. That's new. You whispered. He looked down, a small smirk playing at his lips. You're new. You both stood there at the edge of the sidewalk, laughter fading into silence, not awkward, just full of possibilities. And then, so naturally, it made your chest ache a little. He lifted your hand and pressed a soft kiss to your knuckles. Let's call this the first of many weird nights. You smiled, trying not to combust internally. Deal. And as the crosswalk turned green, he laced his fingers through yours, this time fully openly, and walked beside you under the city lights like he had been waiting his whole life for this night.